Hello everybody and welcome back to Powerwash Simulator here on youtube.com/SeanOsaurusRex. It's been a while and I forgot how much I don't like that tablet. My name is Sean. This is our co-op gameplay series where we play games together every Thursday. We're here doing some power washing. We are about 58% done here with the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, and that's what we're going to be continuing to do today. But I specifically jumped back into this game so that we had a nice relaxing game so I could tell you about our fun trip over to Seattle. I gotta turn my headset down. Because we went over to Seattle and I was like, oh man, it'd be fun to tell people about that. But what's a good game to just talk over? We don't have to really worry about it. And turns out that game is Powerwash Simulator. We have a text message from the Mad Hatter. March Hare informs me that in educated circles, scones rhymes with bones, like Saconas? Not scones, like we've been saying. Sacones? Because scones. What? I don't... Enunciation doesn't work through text, Mad Hatter. I don't know what you're on about. Either forget what I just said, or what I said earlier. It's entirely up to you. I like that this game decided to remind me a minute and 30 seconds into this that I cannot stand the way Alice in Wonderland is written. Absolutely despise it. Anyway, so we went over to Seattle. If you'd like more Seattle content, I did a little bit of a taste test in yesterday's taste test of some items that I picked up on the way to Seattle. And then on Saturday, there will be a taste test of some items that I picked up in Seattle, but I figured I would tell some fun stories while we were over there. We went over there for the Apple Cup, which is traditionally played either at Washington State's University or at Washington State University. There we go. Or at Washington University at the end of November. You might note that it's just now like late September. Well, that's because, and I won't get into the whole specifics of it because it's kind of boring and annoying, but Washington and Washington State used to be in the same college football conference. They are no longer in the same conference. So in order to make the schedules work, they moved it to mid-September at Lumen Field over in Seattle. So that the tradition could continue. And I've mentioned it a couple of times, but the Washington State Cougars, really need the Washington Huskies a lot more than the Huskies need the Washington State Cougars. So I'm sure Washington State was like, well, we'll do whatever. We'll just let us play this game. Oh, please, dear God, we need it. We need it real bad. And Washington was like, well, we'll only do it because we play in the Big Ten now. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to get all into it, and then I did. Promptly got all into it. I have thoughts. I have opinions. I think it's really dumb, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Did give us an opportunity to see the Apple Cup in person, which has, for the two of us, it's been traditionally a little tricky to get there. That Thanksgiving weekend when it's usually played is it's hard. It's, I don't know, not impossible, but it's real tricky to get over to Seattle, and then it's usually on a Friday. It's kind of a nightmare, honestly, for traveling. But it was cool to be able to go, and I was very thankful to my mom for setting all that up. I called her as soon as it happened. I was like, hey, Apple Cup, it's in September. Should we go? We should go. So we did that. We usually go to one football game a year, one Cougar game a year. And I thought this would be the good one because we've seen most of the Pac-12 schools at this point, if not all of them before they left. So we went over. We left Friday and then returned Sunday. And it was kind of a quiet drive over there. We only had 2 oopses out of my mom for driving too fast while she was talking about NASCAR. She hit 80 and you just hear a subtle little oops. Oops. It's like, well, you're talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. Yeah, of course you want to go fast. Learned that she's going to be going to Talladega coming up soon, which is pretty cool. But not a whole lot happened on the way down. We stopped at a gas station on... Oh, that's going to be a pain. In between Ritzville and... I want to say it's like exit like 26 or something. It's like a Where'd the ladders go? It's like a weird. It's near a rest stop, I guess is what I should say. So we stopped there and picked up. The Beeb picked up some taffy. What were the two? You got orange cream taffy, and what was the other flavor you got? Cotton candy was the other flavor, and I only tried the orange cream because I don't like cotton candy all that much as a flavor. I'm also not a big taffy guy anyway, but I thought it would be interesting because as we continued on our trip, we stopped at the top of Snoqualmie Pass and went to the little. Well, we went to the rest area, whatever, and it's right next to this shop. So I was like, okay, well, do what you need to do, and then we'll just meet in the shop. And the first thing that I saw when I walked in was pickle flavored taffy, and in my head, I was already kind of turning. Of oh, okay, well, I could just get this pickle taffy and we'll just grab, I'll grab some of the orange cream taffy just to kind of level it out. So there's something good and something kind of nasty in there. So we were going to grab the bag, which was originally, it was $12 or $13, but thankfully they had, individual pieces that you could buy for I think they were 50 cents, I think, per taffy, Beeb.
Yeah, it was either 50 or 25.
50 or 25 cents, something like that. A much more reasonable price and a much lower level of commitment to just be oh, we'll just buy 6 or 8 or whatever, and this will be kind of a fun, goofy thing to try and have. So picked up some of those, and as I was telling that part of the story, I realized that I completely skipped the first little bit. Our main stop on the way there was Yakima, which, if you're familiar with driving to Seattle from the Spokane area, which is where we were coming from, you might go, why in the world would you go all the way down to Yakima? That doesn't make any sense. That's a weirdly roundabout way to get to Seattle from from Spokane, but you could just kind of go across the state of Washington on I-90. There was some construction on a bridge outside of Moses Lake. That's what it is. I don't know why I can't ever keep them straight. It drives me nuts. I'm I should know this, but I don't. But there was some construction on a bridge that my mom did not want to deal with, so we just went down through Tri-Cities, through Yakima. We went and saw where my mom used to live when she was a wee little kid, which was interesting. Oops, gosh darn it. Oh, okay. You know what? I'll take that ding. I'll take the ding. So as we were leaving that area, Prosser and such like that, my mom threw out hey, we should find a place to stop. And so I pulled out my phone, I start looking, and I had brought my GoPro, basically just as a, hey, just in case sort of thing, which seems kind of silly, but it turned out that it was a good plan. Teapot lid, okay. Let's see, where are we looking here? Teapot lid. Oh, there's something. I had brought it just in case, basically for moments like this, where it was oh, hey, we're gonna go try this local establishment or this kind of weird thing. I see where I need to clean, and just in case, always good to be ABP. Always be prepared for content. People often criticized me for when I was younger. They'd be like, boy, if only you would, if you just applied yourself. And boy, if I applied myself to eating random food around the area or wherever I go. And it's to be completely honest, people have seemed to really enjoy those kind of out and about episodes of Taste Test, and thank you for that. I really appreciate that. So I was looking around on the map, and I just happened to see this thing. It was called Whiny Dogs, and it said that it was top rated. Oh, this is going to be hard to find where I need to clean. That orange feels like it's going to meld in. I don't see it. There it is. Give it to me. Give it to me, please. So it had... That's a thing of light. So it had a high rating, and I was like, oh, cool, this will be interesting. And I was kind of doing a little bit more research, just kind of tinkering, or not, like flipping through the photos. I don't know why I said tinkering. But flipping through the photos just to see what they had on offer so I could, relay information. And I noticed that they had a dog of the week. And I was like, oh, if that's not a taste test situation, I don't know what is. So as soon as I see that they have this like dog of the week, I start immediately reaching into my big stupid backpack that I've brought along with me that has a bunch of, like, it has my laptop and a bunch of just cords and cables for this very moment. And I put it on. I have an external charger that I run it on. And I start making sure that the camera's charged and that it is ready to go because I am determined. I am ready to try whatever the dog of the week is going to be at this Whiny Dogs in Yakima. And so we go there. We stop by there. See that there's a 7-Eleven on the way. If you remember, the taste test of the what is it? The Coke Oreos actually went up after because I was looking for the Slurpee variant of the Oreo Coca-Cola, and I was like, oh, cool! Look at this. I'm gonna get a twofer right here. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna do this Whiny Dogs thing, and so my gears start turning in my head of thinking about, okay, do I do the Whiny Dogs? Do I do it by itself? Do I do it as like just kind of general like Seattle trip situation? Start working on that, but always, trying to have a backup plan and go like, I know I need to take a look at the raw footage of the Oreo cookie one, Oreo Coca-Cola mashup, because it's a little rough on the raw footage. I knew that in doing it, I knew that it needed to be cut down a little bit. So we go, do the Whiny Dogs, have a good time there. I eat a bunch of the mac and cheese. I don't really eat much of the hot dog. I kind of had the one bite. It must be interesting for my mom to watch me be just so financially irresponsible of like, you paid $8 for that hot dog to eat like, at best, like a 16th of it or an 1/8 of it, and then just kind of go like, okay, well, that was what I was here for. But I think the Beeb had like a couple bites, so maybe, I don't know. It wasn't the best. I was looking back at the footage actually, and I completely forgot that there was supposed to be relish on there because all you really tasted was like hot dog and Cheeto. So it was a little imbalanced flavor wise. But you can go watch that video. That did very well. Thank you for watching it. I was a little worried about putting it up because I was like, well, people aren't going to care, but also at the same time, like, I had fun, so who cares? I should just put it up because I enjoyed it. So I'm trying to be better about that and worry less about, like, but people might not click on it. It's like, who cares? You had a fun time, and the people who watched it might like it. So we did that, and then stopped at the 7-Eleven really quickly where I found the Slurpee, but unfortunately it was out. So I wasn't able to grab the Slurpee there. I was probably just going to do it on video outside. And oh, cool! I just redeemed some reward points. Earned some reward points. Thanks. I don't know why you told me that, but so I was like, okay, cool. I'll just do this outside. I recorded the one part in this room, and I was going to record the other part in like just outside. And it's kind of a blessing that I didn't. Well, I should say, we go in. I think I find it, but unfortunately it is out. You're not able. There's a little red light that's like, hey, don't use when this light is on. And I was like, dang, that sucks. But it actually turned out to kind of be a blessing in disguise because I would have recorded that video in 2 different frame rates, which is not a fun thing to deal with inside of Adobe Premiere. So it actually kind of worked to my benefit. So just grabbed a couple of things there. And then we were kind of on our way. We didn't spend a ton of time in Yakima. The Whiny Dogs was nice, like a nice little outdoor patio location that we just kind of hung out in. And I think sometimes, much like the story, I talk a little bit too much when I do the taste tests. And I think doing them outside gives me just a tick more of like anxiety of like, I got to get this done before people start talking to me. I don't want to like explain this. Please, like, just let me do a thing without explaining. But it worked out well. Oof. it worked out well, and people seem to enjoy it, which is always a positive. And then we made our way to what the heck? All right, thank you. Where did you have? Oh, you had something. Okay, never mind. She had something on her screen. That's why all those blue spots appeared. No, you're good. I thought I hit a button, and I was worried that the game glitched because I just figured I'd pick something up and I would put it down and call it good. Anyway, we went to Snoqualmie. I told that part of the story backwards. Then we got to Issaquah, which is actually where we actually stayed. And then the Beeb and I decided that we would go into Seattle because there were a couple of spots that we were going to stop at that we didn't really want to deal with the crowds and didn't want to like drag my mom to like, hey, watch us look at stuff at this like at the Ujimaya or at Pink Gorilla Games. Like that's not going to be fun for you. So we'll just make sure that we do this stuff on our own and we'll just kind of take care of it. It also gave us an opportunity to go and get some Orca cards, which I was 155% confident I had in my bag, but didn't, or in my wallet, and just didn't. I never bothered to look. I was so confident at what I had in my backpack, or in my wallet. I don't know why I keep thinking backpack. But I didn't. I didn't have an Orca card, which ended up being kind of a problem. But I was like, okay, well, we'll just go into Seattle. We'll go grab some Orca cards, and we'll go make a couple of stops. I still have I have the GoPro on me, and the main reason that I had brought it, aside from just kind of always being ready for it, was like, oh, hey, you know what would be really cool? Is doing a taste test inside of the stadium. Ooh, boy, was I stubborn on that, and ugh. So goal number 1 going into Seattle on Friday night is to go to Ujimaya, because I know that we love going to that store. The Beeb usually gets a bunch of interesting stuff, like she'll go get some sushi stuff, and I'll go find some Kit Kats and whatever. It's the perfect excuse to go, or the perfect place to go for me to get, to get taste test items. Oh, you're good. It's weird that it still has that glitch. It still has it. Scones. We're going to take a break to hear from the Mad Hatter, which I don't really want to hear from. That's it. Okay. All right. Good for your bones. Oh my, how you've groans. Oh my, how I've groaned throughout reading these text messages. Speaking of which, fret not, child. I'm certain a growth spurt lays just around the corner. Okay. All right. So, we go check out Top Pot Donuts after we arrive in Issaquah. Grab some donuts. I realized earlier in the morning that I did not have an Orca card, which is what you use to use public transit in the Seattle area. I love using it. It's very convenient and helpful. You load your card on a little machine, then you just scan the card on the bus, and you're ready to go. Or at the terminal for the light rail. It's super helpful because that's what we do. The Beeb and I, Ashley and I, we ride the train over to Seattle, and then we just use public transit. It works on everything. It's awesome. So in my head, I realize that I do not, in fact, have an Orca card. In my head, I'm like, okay, well, maybe there hopefully will be something at the transit center that we can use. We'll just grab an Orca card real quick. It'll be easy. No problem. We try Top Pot Donuts, pretty good. We work our way to the transit center, just kind of get an idea of what's going on, what the layout is, and there is no buy station. You can't just purchase an Orca card here. So it's like, oh crap, now what do we do? Fortunately, my mom has a little bit of cash on me. I'm panically trying to figure out how much bus fare costs. It ends up costing $3.25. There are a lot of buses that go in and out of that transit center. As we're trying to work and figure it out, a bus shows up. I'm going to get on the bus. Not even going. I'm going to go walk up to the door. I'm just going to ask how much bus fare costs. And before I can get a word out of my mouth, the driver puts his hand out and goes, "I'm not going to Seattle," and then just drives away. Just left. Like, just was like, "I'm not going. I'm not answering your questions." I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't actually trying to go. I mean, I'm trying to go to Seattle, but I wasn't going to get on the bus. I just needed to know how much it costs. That's all. So I figure out it's $325, but I'm not 100% confident in that number. I find out that I use through the internet. It turns out I've actually had already downloaded that bus map onto my phone previously, which is a weird sentence for me to say. So we figure out it's $325 per, so it's $650 for both of us to get into town, and then we'll purchase a card and go from there. So my mom gives me a $5 and like a $1.50 in quarters. I get on the bus. She goes first. I go, "Hey, I got my fare and her fare, just 2 fares, no transfers, no nothing." And I put the $5 bill in, and then I just start cramming quarters in there, like waiting for him to like give me like a thumbs up. And he's not really gonna do that. I'm just dropping quarters in, going like, "Are we good? Are we gonna be good?" And so we go. We have a seat, and then we did have enough money. It wasn't like I needed to go flag my mom down. I need 2 more quarters. But we get a good idea of like what the route is and how we're getting into town and all that. So we get dropped off. Because I have the GoPro, and I'm going to take this into the stadium, and I'm going to do a taste test at the stadium. I need to find a clear bag. A clear bag that is specific dimensions that will fit a GoPro, and then the little handle that I'm going to put it on to just make it easier to film. So that ends up kind of becoming goal number 1. We get a bit of a late start. It's like 6:30 or 7, and then it takes a little bit to get into town because there is a Mariners game happening that night. There's like a bunch of sports happening all weekend long. It's wild. The day that we went to the Apple Cup, there was a Mariners game. It was basically Cougars and Huskies fans at 12:30, and then at 4:30 they left, and then at 5:30 the Mariners fans showed up. I would love to know what the crossover is between those two events. That'd be hilarious, or not hilarious. It'd be fascinating to see who just like went from one stadium at Lumen Field across the street to T-Mobile Park. So traffic is like a little bit slow getting into Seattle. And this is important because it now forces me to make a decision, because the Pink Gorilla games that we're going to go to closes at 7 p.m. and it's like 6:30, and I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have to try and find a clear backpack. So I'm like, you know what? I will forego going to Pink Gorilla, no problem. We'll go tomorrow. We'll go a different time. It's like not that big of a deal. Lord knows I spend enough money on bad video games in the first place. I don't really need help doing that. So it's like, okay, it's gonna be clear bag or bust for me on this trip, and then we'll go to Ujimaya, easy peasy. Find out that Ujimaya closes at 8 p.m. So we're working with a much tighter window than I had originally anticipated. So we get in at like right about, it's probably like 6:45 or so. Make a quick run over to the stadium area. They have like little shops set up on the street where you walk in. You can get food, or the clear bags was one of them. And you can get some, Lumen Field at least lets you bring in factory sealed water or factory sealed stuff into some stuff, not all of it. But they let you bring in some stuff, so there's like, hey, it's $1 out here, but it's like $6 in there or whatever for bottles of water. So there's like just a bunch of like different shops, primarily like food based. We go into, I think it's called like Seattle Sports or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but we go in there. We've been in there before. Everything about it seems like it's not like a legitimate operation, but actually like is. We find this little clear bag. There was a clear backpack that probably would have worked to get into the stadium. That was $27 out on the street, but when we went into the totally legitimate, just didn't look very legitimate sports store, it was like $18. So she buys that. She's like, "Oh, don't worry. You've been, I'll take care of this. Like, we're good. We'll figure it out." So she picks it up, $18. Bing, bang, boom. We're on our way to Ujimaya, working our way through, kind of just walking, having a good time. I love walking around Seattle. I don't know why. I like walking around. Places where like you can just pop into shops and stuff. I'm not as much excited about like nature walks, but like if you were telling me that we're going to a town that might have something cool that you can buy, I'm all in. I'm 100% in. So we go to Ujimaya, find some good stuff. That video will come out on Saturday, and there's some fun items in there. Like I was saying earlier, it's the perfect place for taste test where I get to buy stuff that is familiar to me just from somewhere else. And that's awesome. Like that's where I discovered the greatest Kit Kat of all time, which is the chocolate orange Kit Kat. It is incredible. I did buy one of those bags. I didn't taste test it because I'd already had it, and everyone should know how amazing it is. I probably should have just thrown it in there as like buy this. These are incredible. Their prices are really good. I mentioned that in the video as well. We see the Japanese import Kit Kats over here at some shops in the mall because it's like kind of like a kitschy, quirky thing. They routinely go for like $15. They're $5 over there. So it's very much a value play. It might honestly be worth the $200 train ticket just to save $10 on Kit Kats, for being honest. So we grabbed a few items there. She grabbed some sushi. It's all good. We're gonna work our way back to the bus stop. It's like a little bit of a walk. What I do appreciate about it is the bus that we are riding is like the 554 to Issaquah. It is it's an express bus that gets you in and out really quickly. It has very few stops. What I also appreciate about it is the fact that the bus drop-off point and the bus pickup point are two different spots. So it's like if you're getting off, you're just getting off. You don't have to deal with people getting on because they're at a different stop. If you're getting on, you don't have to deal with people getting off because, again, it is a different spot. So we make our way back. We're kind of walking through the International District, which we're familiar enough with. I'm following, my Google Maps so that I'm not getting too lost. And we're walking by one of the stores, and we look down the poster for sketchy alleys, and we look, and there's just the biggest honking rat that we have ever seen. It is an absolute chonk, just hustling across the alleyway. We were like, oh my God, that rat was so fat. Oh, it was awesome. Just seeing that little rat just scamper across the alleyway. And so that was the fun thing that we saw that day. I don't even know. I think that was the first thing that we talked about. Not the Ujimaya trip, not the clear backpack, none of that. It was the big thick rat that we saw running across the alleyway, which is the first time that we've ever seen that. We've spent a decent amount of time in Seattle walking around that area, or just kind of just walking around in general. Never seen a rat. That's the first rat I've ever seen there, which was kind of wild. So we get back on the bus. Thankfully the bus isn't super crowded either way, which was nice. I think it got like a little full, but we had a seat. It wasn't very full when we got on, so we had a seat to sit on the way in, which was nice Friday night. We get back, and then we just kind of hang out. I end up, because I don't find the correct, I don't find the Slurpee that night. I end up just using the footage for the whiny dogs, and I'm like, I'll just edit that really quick, put that together really quickly on my laptop, got that uploaded. My mom's watching like something on the Weather Channel that's like weather gone viral or something, and I'm like, okay. So I thankfully my laptop has Bluetooth because I'm sure my mom does not want to hear me editing myself. So I was able to do that. But there's a weird, hopefully that video audio turned out okay. I realize I haven't checked on it because there's a slight audio delay when the Bluetooth is connected that made me feel like the audio was wrong, but it didn't seem wrong. So I don't know. All the GoPro stuff, for as much of a pain as that has turned out okay. So I guess check your audio if you're unsure. or just get a second opinion. So then we go to bed. We're trying to determine and discuss and determine like what time we want to leave the next day. We're going to get up. We'll see what time it is, and we'll kind of go from there. We just kind of go to bed. Ashley and I discovered that there are two like kind of weird lights on the side, and so we're playing with those. We're really tired, and it's very funny. I don't know how to describe them. It's like they took a flashlight and just put it on the side, like as a reading light, but it worked as a spotlight. It was so bright. It was so weird. So weird. Anyway, we get up the next morning. We go down. We have some breakfast. Pretty okay, I guess. I don't know. The waffle was huge. I didn't anticipate it being that big. They have like 3 different college football games on, which is awesome. And I see a bus drive by, and I go, oh, that bus is pretty full. But as I'm saying that, there's an older lady that like kind of stands up and like kind of looks in my direction, but I don't think she's looking at me, and I'm looking in her direction, and I'm definitely not looking at her. I'm looking at the far more interesting thing behind her, the bus, and she kind of like points and goes like, oh, we got to get ready, the boys are out, or something like that, something weird. And I'm like talking about the bus, and I kind of like look at Ashley, who's sitting next to me, and I go like, was she talking to me? Like, what is happening right now? And my mom goes, well, what would you glean from that conversation? Or what would you glean from that situation? And I think she's talking about the bus. And so I'm like, well, it looks kind of full, so we might want to get going. Like we probably want to like try and get the next one out. And she's like, no. You think that the lady talked to you? And I'm like, I don't think she did, but it'd be funny if she did. And now my mom has to have a circular conversation with me going, but it'd be really funny if she was talking to me, and her going, you're not the main character of this story, and me going, but it'd be pretty funny if I was the main character of the story. And it just back and forth in the most circularly irritating way, I'm sure, to her. So then we get on the bus. I try to explain to my mom how to tap the card. It's a thing. At top, it has a display. The bottom has the part where you tap it on the thing, and that's where it takes the money. I'm in front of her. I double check that it works for Ashley. She's done it before. It's never a problem. Tap mine. Look back. She's a person behind me somehow. She seemingly slides it. Fine. Whatever. Looks like it works. Great. And then we're off. The bus, pretty crowded. We find one seat, thankfully. We find a seat where she can sit, and the two of us can just kind of stand. We're in by the back doors. It's a bendy bus, so it's twice as long. So we're by the backest of back doors, and this bus ride's only going to get more crowded. As I'm sure that you can surmise from the fact that it's the Apple Cup, and we're not the only people who had the brilliant idea. My mom had the brilliant idea to stay somewhere else and then ride in public transit wise, and then go from there. Oh, thank God I can pick up that ladder from there. Oops, grab this little spot. A lot of Husky fans have the same idea. There's some Cougar fans on the bus. There's one couple that is one Husky fan and one Cougar fan, and he was loving it and she was not, and it was very funny to watch. They were both having a good time with it. He was having a better time with it. So we get on the bus. It's going to start getting real cramped. This isn't an unfamiliar situation for us to be in. When we go to the Cougar games, we park at the park and rides. We ride the bus in. Those buses get tight. However, the difference is that the buses, 1, are smaller in Pullman, and 2, and maybe this is the more important part of this piece, or this story, the ride is not like 30 minutes. It is 10 or 15 at best, and you're on and off. It doesn't allow it to like sink itself in. It was like, oof, we're really wedged in here with a bunch of people. When we rode the bus the first night, it made 2 stops at 2 different park and rides on the way in. Before it got into Seattle, it got off the freeway, and then it made the final stop. On this day, we are going over the bridge, and you can see off to the left, the driver's side, you can see that there are a ton of people. Like, she points it out, she goes, oh, that's a lot of people. And I go, uh-oh, this isn't great. They just skipped that parking ride. They did not worry about it. Whoever the bus driver was like, you know what? They'll get the next one. They'll figure it out, which is fine. I guess I kind of appreciate it, but I also kind of would have liked those dice rolled a little bit differently, because we stopped at the second park and ride, and boy, oh boy, did the people there really need to make sure that they got on this bus, because it got uncomfortably cramped too far from our final destination before like another 15 or 20 people got on and are like asking people like, hey, move up, hey, move up. There's tons of room up there. There's tons of room back behind the back in the back. There's older folks going like, oh, there's tons of room back up here. Just like there's two people sitting in a seat. I'm standing up on the step, and I'm too close to this woman. I don't want to be this close to this woman. I don't like this. I want a bubble. I want space. I feel so uncomfortable that I'm so close to this woman, and I have more people shoving me closer to her, and I'm like, oh God, this is awful. Obviously, this is kind of par for the course. She's not complaining. I understand that, but also for my own personal preference, I don't want any more people on this bus. I don't want it. I would push you off. So they keep cramming, and I think I make like kind of like a comment like, oh, this sucks. And someone goes, oh, but it's worse in Japan and India. And I'm like, that's not an answer. That you cannot acknowledge like this is fine because it's worse somewhere else. Like, shut up. Like, you're dumb. I'm so irritated and irate with all of these stupid Husky fans who are just like, yeah, just cram on the bus. Yeah, no problem. No problem. If anything goes wrong, we're probably all going to die, but it's fine because I need to get to the stadium. And it's like, God, just take the next one. Jerk. I was so irritated. So it starts getting a little hot. It starts getting a little sweaty. There's a lot of body heat. There's a lot going on there. I see this nice lady. She's sitting next to the lady that I feel bad being so near. They're both nice. I'm sure they're fine. I see her start to reach up because it's starting to get a little warm. I see her reaching up. I don't want to overstep my bounds, and I don't want to tell her how bus windows work because she doesn't know how much experience I have on buses. It would probably just sound like I'm mansplaining to her. Like, oh, if you pinch this. It's like, no, Sean, just be quiet. Like, they're figuring it out. Don't worry. She's reaching for the handle for the window. Now, I'm running out of patience. I'm already a little irritated with how many people are on this bus and the response that the lady gave about how it's worse. So it like factors beyond but totally in my control at the same time are like, I need to help this lady. Half of my brain going, I need to help this lady. Half of my brain going, just don't worry, it's fine. She's going to get it. Don't worry. That part wins. Thank God. She gets it open. It's one of those where you have to like kind of clip it down and pull it. And it is a relief. When she opens it, there is an instant change. I just look at her and I just go, you're my hero. You're our hero. And it's because I know that if I'm warm, the Beeb is warmer. Because she runs a little hotter than I do. So I know that if I am miserable, like there's a good chance that she is way, way, way more miserable than I am. It's the same, she runs hotter than I do, and she smells things more potently than I do. She has a better nose. So I know that if I smell something bad, it's the same situation of just going like, oh man, if this sucks for me, it's got to be way worse. So I let her know. I go, hey, you're our hero. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. And we just work our way into the city. There's a lot of traffic, obviously, because it's the Apple Cup. We're just getting there. We're trying to get there. I have stuffed this see-through bag full of I think it has a sweatshirt or two in there. It has my GoPro. It has my mom's monocular that she is going to use because we're sitting a little further up than we usually do. And in my head, I'm kind of like, man, I sure hope I can get this GoPro in because I don't know if that is going to work. But I'm too focused on the irritating Husky fans who don't understand the concept of like personal space and the relief of the window to like worry too much about it. Also, just making sure that we both stay on our feet and we're not flying into other people. I also can't hear myself think because the two men standing behind me are so effing loud She's like, she's trying to talk to me, and I'm like, I can't hear you. I can't hear myself think over these two guys, which is so annoying. So annoying. You are inside. You're inside. It's a tight space. The person you're talking to is right next to you. I don't need to hear your full-fledged conversation. I don't care. Okay? Just shut up. Everyone's miserable. It's probably just me. We're all miserable. We're going to just include everybody. Anyway. So, we get off the bus. It's kind of a weird disembarking because we had gotten off at a specific or a certain spot last time. Oh, there's like a ladder spot up there. That's weird. Oh, yeah, sorry. You can't jump. Oh, there we go. An edge? Edge on the outside. Okay, I see some spots. Let me see if I can... Let's see if I can kind of poke at it. So there were like a couple of like markers of like, okay, we're getting close, of like, okay, we're off the freeway, so we're probably like 3 or 4 minutes away. Okay, there's the Ujimaya, then we're like kind of around the corner from the spot that we need to disembark. And there's a little spot right there. Give it to me. No. Up there. There we go. 99%. We're going to check right here. We have... Oh, there's a couple things. The gramophone is 85%. And the gramophone crank. Okay, so we're kind of... Oh, that menu sucks. I wasn't as effective or efficient as I should have been, because it should be this crank right here. Crank it. There it goes. There's that. Oh, and the gramophone itself. Gotcha. There's probably a spot that I just flat out missed. It's right here on the front. So the other day when we had gotten off the bus, the Friday that we had gotten off the bus, it was a nice, easy disembarkment because it went like through a stoplight to the other side of the stoplight and clear. Easy to get off because there isn't a guardrail in the way. This time, the bus stops in front of the red light and make sure that you can only use the front door for some reason. They have decided to do this. They've decided, I've been explaining this very well. They've decided that it's a good idea to just let everybody off. There might have been another bus in front. I couldn't see. But the only spot that we could get off was the front door because of this big guardrail in the way. And so it takes a little bit to get off. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is like kind of, again, thanks to our hero for opening that window. Good Lord, you came through in the clutch. And take a drink. Otherwise, it would have been a much more miserable, could have been a much more miserable situation without the candelabra base. Is you. So we get off the bus, we work our way to the stadium. Stacked teacup handles. Okay. Is that it? Stacked teacup handle. Okay. Teapot spouts. That's absolutely on me because I was working on that over here. Teapot spout, good. I bet you that little hole up there. We get off the bus, work our way across the little. Okay, thank you. Hey, achievement. Work our way across the walking bridge. Go down the stairs. There are brilliant. It says 99%. It says 99% for me as well. Did you not get so you didn't get the achievement? No. Okay. Oh, there it goes. That was weird. I love these. These are so great. You can see how we did it. I didn't realize you did the yellow table. Huh. I mean, it makes sense. I didn't realize you did the yellow table for a really long time. There are some brilliant, people who have set up where there's a walking bridge and then there's 2 flights of stairs on either side of an elevator. One of them goes kind of more toward the train station. The other one kind of you would use to get to the stadium. They both connect. You wouldn't pick one over the other. Whatever, it doesn't matter. 2 sets of stairs. There are some brilliant salespeople who have set up at the bottom of these stairs, they are going to see so many people just selling dollar bottles of water. Just going like, it is $1 out here. It's $7 in there. Buy it here. You can take it into the stadium. Brilliant. Really, really smart. So we work our way in. I'm kind of like starting to get a little more concerned as I'm like, oh man, this is not going to work in my favor.
Side note, I think there was somebody even closer to the stadium that was selling like 5 for $1.
Oh, 5 for $1 waters? Yeah. Closer to the stadium? That's wild. Oh, that's right. And on our way into the stadium, we saw a lady who was clearly who was gonna bring. Oh, the queen says, "Come on, chop chop." What's that lady gonna say? Stay tuned after I read these text messages.
I'm looking for the cat. Oh, there's the cat.
Oh, where's the cat? Oh God, I don't like when it's floating. I like when the cats are cozy. You've barely done anything at all. Okay. Oh. You scared it away. Rude. Oh, I know you did. Rude. Still rude. Chop, chop. Okay. It took you that long to text chop, chop? A thing you have already told me? You could just copy and paste? Anyway, so we're walking in, and it starts to become like a fun game of like, oh, what are people trying to break into the stadium? And the first contestant is this older lady in front of us who has got 2 McDonald's breakfast burritos in her bag. So I don't know if she was able to get that in there. And then just a lot of people with just a lot of like blankets and like team flags and stuff like that. It wasn't the most fun game in the world. But it was funny to see that it was just like, oh, just 2 McDonald's breakfast burritos, which technically qualify as factory sealed, but also like not really counting as factory sealed because I don't know. If you have a red sticker on it, does that count as factory sealed? Anyway, we start getting closer to the line. We're trying to figure out like, okay, we're in section 340, row H, I believe, and we're right seats like 11, 12, 13, right in front of, or right behind like the tunnels that go in, and then you go either way to go up. Sort of thing. We're like right on top of that where there's no one in front of us. It's awesome. Seats are going to be cool. We just have to get into the stadium. Walk up. I have brought the sweatshirts. I have brought the GoPro. I have brought the stick to film it on. All this stuff. Walk up. See what is allowed and not allowed to get into the stadium. And it's like, oh, no cameras. And I'm like, they're going to count this as a camera. It shouldn't count as a camera. I'm going to be honest with you. It shouldn't count. People are filming things on their phones all the time. Like a GoPro shouldn't count as like professional recording equipment. Like if you brought a boom mic in there, if you brought in like a HD, like a full-on video camera, sure. But also I think you need to understand, and this is maybe something that I can tell myself, is the people who run the stadiums also need to understand that like most people aren't going to watch your view of a football game. I feel like the rule is there because the governing bodies go, but then people will just watch it online. And it's like, you don't want to watch an entire Apple Cup recording from section 340, row H, seat 11. You're not going to do that. Stop pretending like you're going to. But it's the fear of lost revenue that I think really drives a lot of this stuff. Because it's the same thing like when I worked at McDonald's. Like people would be like, I'm never coming here again. And I'm like, I'll see you tomorrow. Like it's an empty threat. I don't care about your theoretical lost money. But people like really love to use that as a reason to like get what they want. Or as a reason to like not allow you to bring in a GoPro. So I go like, shoot. Like this might not work the way that I want it to. So it's like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. We get in a line, and I will be honest, we get in the wrong line. The ladies that are there are an older woman who doesn't want to screw up, which I understand. The second lady is there to answer any and all questions, and she will not let anything past her, and she takes pride in that. I guarantee you that she takes pride in the fact that she turned away one man's GoPro. So I go first just to make sure. That way, if I'm the one who screws up, my mom doesn't lose access to her monocular. That I make sure that the beeb gets her sweatshirt, like that I get my sweatshirt. Blah blah blah. Forgot my hat. It really sucked. So she's like, no, this is a GoPro, and then they qualify the little thing that I put it on. Let me see if I can grab it as a visual demonstration. They qualify this little thing here as a selfie stick, which, I mean, I guess, but also isn't that big, one, and two, isn't really going to get in the way, and mostly is just going to be used to, like, film, which I guess selfie stick, but I'm not, again, like, if I'm going to bug anyone, and this, I'm one person, there's probably tons of people who would bug other people next to them. If I'm going to bug anyone, I'm just going to move it, because Ashley ends up on my left, I'm just going to bug her. Like, that's all I'm going to do, is I'm going to do that, or she'll hold it and kind of do that or whatever. Like, look, I get it. I can understand the selfie stick thing being a little bit in the way, but like a GoPro is smaller than my own phone. Like, what? It's smaller than my own phone. Like, there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to bring this in. I can film with this, which, again, Sean, maybe listen to yourself. You can film with this, and you could do that. Doesn't have to be a GoPro. So I get turned away. I get everything. I get people what they need. And she goes, hey, you got to go take it over to the lockers. Go over there. They'll store it for you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, crap. Frick. Annoyed because, one, I can't get it in. I can't get it in the stadium. And two, now people have to wait for me. If I had done this by myself, and it was kind of like, oh, I just kind of burned myself, it'd be a lot easier to deal with. But because, like, now they have to wait for me to walk over to the locker thing, walk back, get in line, and then go through again, I feel kind of bad about it. But I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. It's fine. We're ahead of schedule anyway. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. So I go over there. They are putting up a sign. They are in the process of putting up a sign that says locker storage $10. I go, okay, great. This is now, I am now out $10, whatever, no problem. Give the guy, like, my thing. He goes, oh, it's just one bag. I go, oh, yeah. He goes, that'll be $15. I'm like, what is happening? Well, this is nonsense. Your sign, I didn't, like, bring this up. I was already irritated for other reasons. Your sign says $10 friggin' dollars. The one that you are putting up literally right in front of me says $10. And for some reason, it's $15. Great. Fantastic. So now this is, at this point, this is a $33 gamble, 18 of which is not even mine, for a bag that did not make it into the stadium due to my stubbornness. And so I felt bad about that. I was like, shoot, like, this really has not gone the way that I thought it would go to. We're going to double down on the way that it didn't go my way, because there wasn't even anything all that interesting to try. This happens at Pig Out in the Park as well, where I think that it's going to be, like, way more interesting than it actually is. I like Pig Out in the Park. I like, I did the Post Falls Festival as well, and had a good time doing both of them. But for the most part, like, by and large, the stuff isn't the most exciting. It's a lot of kind of just standard food. I guess I thought there'd be something kind of silly, kind of goofy, kind of weird, but nothing really stuck out. So the whole plan was wrong from the absolute beginning, and then it cost her $18, and it cost me $15 in fees.
Was there anything we're supposed to not clean or clean?
Oh shoot, yeah, I forgot about that. I can check that achievement right now.
I don't want to necessarily.
Let's see. Well, we'll see if we get lucky. In the Queen of Hearts court, roll the pink croquet ball into the croquet finish heart. So, no, there's nothing we need to clean or not clean. We just have to... I don't know. Maybe it'll become more apparent when we get it clean. Oh. Would it... Oh, look at the tops. I got a heart right here.
Well, if you paint it, though...
Oh. Oh, shoot. Oh. Croquet. Well, where's the pink croquet ball? Okay, there you go. See if you can roll it. Roll it where? Hang on, we'll get back to my story in a second. Roll the pink onto. Oh yeah, that would be it. Did it unlock? Oh here, pop. Maybe pop it back on. This one at least would be kind of like. Is that the pink croquet ball? Yeah, I mean it have to be, right? I don't know. I guess I could look up a guide for it. Oh, I could pick it up. Boop. Well, where's the... Well, okay, well, is there a finish? Oh. Is there something over here? Oh, well. Anyway. Is this... Oh. Okay. Well, here's the thing is you can pick it up. And then...
Does that count though?
Well, hold on. You gotta... That's how you do it. So then you'd be able to... You should be able to pick it up.
Oh, I got it for it with it.
Oh, you got it with me. Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Anyway, so I go and pick up the... I go drop off my bag. It's now like a $33... It's $33 that for a bag that didn't even make it into the stadium. It's ridiculous. There's nothing really even worth taste testing in the stadium anyway. Though that's not entirely true because, I'll talk about it in a second. So I get back in line. I avoid the line that I had already been in, and I get into a different line. And I don't. This isn't like meant to like freak anybody out, but some of the people at the front maybe aren't as thorough as some of the other people at the front for what bags they let in or not in. Seems like when I went through the first time, I had to pull all the fabric out, which makes sense. I am not mad about that. But when I went back through the other line, the person did not seem quite as concerned with whether or not the fabric was removed from the bag. Now, obviously, if there was any sort of metal, I think the metal detector would have gone off, but it is like a little thing of like, and I had the thought before I walked over, but it was too much time gamble. Where I was like, I wonder if I could just go to a different line. I'm not trying to get anything illegal or like illicit in there. I'm just trying to get a stupid GoPro camera that I should have brought in the first place in, right? Like I'm trying to save myself some cash here so I can buy some crap in the stadium. But I because there are other people with me, I'm like, I'll just bite the bullet. It's fine. No big deal. Whatever. I go over, I pay my terrible $15, get back, do all that. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. It should have been 10. I don't know why it was 15. It's annoying. So, go in, find our seats fairly quickly. It's a lot of rampways up, though, which kind of sucks. And I am not super accustomed to, like, Seattle warmth, which sounds like a weird thing, because it's only, like... it's only, like, I don't know, 60 degrees. It's not a super warm day out there, but it's cloudy and like kind of muggy and gross in a way that I am not used to. I remarked maybe a little braggadociously that if it was drier out and 20 degrees warmer, I'd be fine. Like I just don't feel like I am made for that heat, if that makes sense. So we work our way up. We find our seats. I actually don't even think I sat down until I got back. I'm like, okay, you have your seats? Great, fantastic. I'm going to go walk the concourse because that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about some stadium freaking food, So I go walk around, I go to the concourse, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll just make a loop. I'll make a loop. Now, Seahawks fans, I'll let you go ahead and determine why that is a stupid idea. And I'll get to the rest of you who aren't familiar with Lumen Field in just a moment. I start walking, start hustling, start dodge, duck, dip, diving, and dodging my way through people. It is delightful. I love it. I'm accelerating through the gaps. I'm hitting the holes just like a running back. It feels awesome. Looking for nachos specifically. Now, if I wasn't looking for nachos, I probably wouldn't have tried to go all the way around. I would have just found the first thing that I found and called it good. But because the Beeb wanted some nachos, I was determined to find nachos. And it's kind of like, it's a weird thing where it's like, well, okay, I don't know if the stadium sides are the same, 100% the same. They're probably going to be mostly the same, but what if there's something on the other side? So I end up just walking all the way around. Now, the Seahawks have this thing that they call the Hawk's Nest. It's a little, like, kind of triangular portion on the north side of the stadium. What's important about this feature is that it is not connected to the other part of the stadium. There is a gap in the architecture that doesn't allow you to go all the way around the stadium. So when I said around the concourse, and if you know Lubin Field, you probably went, well, he's not getting all the way around. And that is what I forgot. I forgot about the Hawk's Nest. I did not realize that I'd forgotten that it was not connected all the way. And I just worked my way literally all the way around. We're on one end by the Hawk's Nest. If I had just, instead of like you go out of the tunnel, if I had turned right instead of left, I wouldn't have made that mistake of going all the way around, because I would have noticed that I would have realized on the right side, if I had gone to the right on our side, it was disconnected. So I just needed to go to a certain point and realize there were no nachos, turn back and turn around and come back. So I do this. I miss like the pregame festivities, which is unfortunate because they do bring Gardner Minshew out and they do make a Napoleon Dynamite reference. So huge loss on my part. But as I'm working my way back, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get some pizza. Easy peasy. I know that it's going to be like a stupidly expensive. Whatever I'm going to buy is going to be dumbly expensive. In my head, as I was working through like, okay, what's like the budget? I was like, I could spend like $40 to $50 probably getting some like, getting a drink, getting a snack, getting a like a main thing, whatever. I asked both, you know, my mom and the Beeb if they want anything. Okay, we got a request for a Diet Coke or a Diet Pepsi, whichever they have, and we have a request for a big water or a water. And thankfully, the waters are like pretty well sized there. They're like the fairly large smart waters, which is awesome. I'm very appreciative of that. I know that I need to grab those two things, and I'll grab myself something to munch on that I'll probably just share with the Beeb. I'm sure my mom's going to be fine. She's not worried about eating. And then I'll just grab like a Coke, or hopefully a Dew, but what's going to probably end up being a Coke. I don't suppose you've seen a 2-mile-high child, have you? What? Oh, my headset died. It tried to warn me, but it finally bit the bullet. Goes by the name of Alice. Oh. Alice is a 2-mile-high child? What? She's a big fan of the Mile High Stadium. She's twice as tall as Denver. Last seen in this very spot, disrupting crucial legal proceedings with a sudden and distasteful growth spurt. Oh, that's the King of Hearts. We're not talking to the Queen of Hearts? I thought it was the Queen of Hearts. I don't know. Maybe that's just the Disneyification of it. Pardon me. So, working my way back. Haven't found any nachos. Nachos don't exist on this day. I say that they do not exist on this day because technically nachos do exist. It's just that the kiosk was actually closed. It was one of very few kiosks that were actually closed on the Apple Cup. The Lumen Field is, for those of you who don't know, is the Seahawks Stadium, which would be more in use on a Sunday. Some places just might not have the staffing available or whatever. I don't know, and that's fine. It's fine that I don't know. I'm not pretending to know. Okay. So work my way back. I'm like, you know what? Get some pizza. Pizza sounds absolutely delightful. Hey, you know what they also have here? They have a Diet Coke, but they don't have a water that I want to get. I know that she doesn't want Dasani water, so I won't worry about that. I'll grab the Diet Coke. I'll see if I can find something different for myself because I don't really want Coke, but if I have to have a Coca-Cola, I'll have a Coca-Cola. I just won't be happy about it. Or I'll at least be fine about it. So I grabbed the pizza slice. It's $14. Kind of like, oof, oh boy. go through what they have this weird thing at the stadium where it's like an Amazon to go thing, and it's like designed to be quick, which I appreciate, but also I don't understand how it works because I've not been there before and I've never used one of these. So I go through, I jam my debit card into some machine that I hope is related to the thing. I go through, I grab a Coca-Cola for myself, I grab a big smart water for the Beeb. Again, really appreciative of the size of the smart waters. I'm sure it was like $13.50 or something, but I don't know this because, and I don't really know how they even charged my card or if they charged my card. I put the debit card in, I grab the 2 items that I'm going to get. I walk towards the guy who I'm assuming is going to go like, hey, you got this and like you're this card or whatever, no problem. Here you go, receipt, blah, blah, blah. Have a nice day. Nope. He goes, do you have any alcohol? And I go, no. And he goes, all right, you're good to go. And I'm like, I haven't paid for anything. Like, I don't know what's happening. But I just move on. I'm like, I'm trying to get back to my seat. I'm just going to trust the process. Worst case scenario, I paid $15 for your stupid locker thing. So I'll go ahead and just take this free soda and water. Okay? That's you do me a solid. I do you a solid buying your stupid locker thing, which isn't even a locker. It's just a truck in a parking lot. And then you give me a free water. So I'm like, okay, that was kind of weird, but I'm just trying to get back to my seat and trying to figure that whole thing out. And so I work my way back. I get there. I get seated. Right at kickoff. Excellent timing on my part, minus the Napoleon Dynamite reference message. Game gets underway. I'm like, I don't know if I paid for these drinks. I have no idea what's happening. I don't know what's going on. So I explain the whole situation. Look at my debit card, like the app on my phone, and it's like, I don't see a charge for this. So there's a possibility that I may have stolen a water and a Coca-Cola from the Seahawks stadium. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I have an Idaho ID. They are going to be like, what do you mean? Do you live from around here? I'm like, no, I don't. I live in Idaho right now. I don't, what do you want me to do? I don't understand how your fancy technology works. I'm only 34, but I do get to kind of start playing the old man card a little bit, at least, where it's like, I'm fairly okay with technology, but in situations like that, I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. I don't understand. This is magic, okay? This is magic. So then, I was all garden wall, all one thing. That seems weird. Also seems easy to clean. Is it garden wall? Same thing. Sorry, I'm trying to. Oh, so it's just gonna go to the end over here. Okay, that's fine. I can deal with that. What's up? Yeah, we'll try to finish all of it. We're 28% done. I'm only about 12% done with my story. What? Why do you see it? You sound irritated. My story taking too long for you? Well, do you want to do a different part of it? I think a lot of the percentage is probably going to come up with this floor and the garden wall. Oh shoot, there's a big portion back there. I can understand why this would be a little. It is intimidating. It's also like it's one of those that's like really intricate, where it's like you have to get the cards and you have to get the interior of the cards as well, and that like kind of sucks. But hopefully the markers are nice. So I sit down. I got this piece of pizza. When I was getting the pizza, there was like an irritating family in front of me that just like there was a kid just kind of like there was a kid on his phone and the parents are trying to talk to the kid, but they're not paying attention to the fact that there are other human beings around them. I also don't know how this works, which is more on me than it is on them. I understand that. But like the kid's like not paying attention and kind of paying attention, and then the parent is like trying to make sure that the pizza chef guy knows that the pizza that they grabbed was in the pepperoni, but it wasn't a pepperoni slice, so we're just going to put it back. And he does not care. He would like you to just stop talking to him, please. So just put the pizza back where it needs to go, and then just move on. That's like essentially what is happening here, and I'm feeling the same way. people are kind of like walking around me, probably irritated for the same reason that I'm irritated with this family, where it's just like I'm kind of like just in the way, but not intentionally trying to be in the way. But I'm not on my phone. I'm actively trying to look for things and trying to figure out how this works. Not just some kid just going like, oh, what? Oh, someone's talking to me? And going like, yeah, pay attention. Pay attention. It's not hard. Okay? Your mom, your dad, whatever, whoever, guardian, whatever, they're buying you pizza. Okay? Have your phone for 5 seconds and get a frickin' slice of pizza. Anyway. Ugh. So I figured that whole thing out, and then I'm sat down at my seat. I'm telling you, the story's a little out of order. I kind of lost myself there. I sit down in the seat, enjoy the game. There are two people in front of me who are a little irritating because they do this thing where they like, as soon as a play is happening, and they're, by the way, we're in the second row back of this little section. Like I said, we're right behind the tunnel, so there's no seats in front of us immediately. It's just the drop off to the ground. There's one row in front that's kind of split and has seats on the left and the right of us, but there's no one in front of them. They are in the very front row of our little section grouping. There is no reason that there's no reason for them to stand. But as soon as a play starts, they kind of start moving in their seat. And then when things start happening, they stand up to cheer. And it's just like, you're in our way. You're in the way. You just sit down. Like, there's nothing. It's like, it's fine. So, a couple of big plays happen. The Cougars have a couple of drives that one of them stalls out on a missed fourth down conversion, which is like kind of annoying. The Cougars keep doing that. They really love Mike Leach and his like, we're just going for it attitude, which based on some events later in the game and in the following week's game against San Diego State, it makes a little more sense why you would not go for it, or why you would go for it on fourth down and not just go like for the field goal. Anyway. So the Cougars have a couple good defensive stands. They're able to get the Huskies off the field, and it's like, okay, cool. Maybe this will be a close game. Cougars kick a field goal. I won't recap the whole game. Cougars kick a field goal, and it's like 3-0, and then the Huskies immediately score a very easy-looking touchdown, and I go, oh, no. I hope it's not going to be one of these kinds of games where the Cougars, their best defensive stands are at the beginning of the game. Their only points are in the first quarter, and then it's just kind of a blowout. Like, it never feels close. Thankfully, I was wrong. Very good game throughout most of it. The kicker for the Cougars, Janikowski, I believe is the last name. He's not the greatest field goal kicker in the world. He misses a kick later in the game. He missed an extra point in the San Jose State game that got real weird real quick. And then booted a 50-yarder like it was no problem. It was a bizarre turn of events. But thankfully, the game was very, very close. What I want to talk about specifically with the game is the fact that one, I should start by saying that Ashley really enjoyed watching the planes coming down from the sky as they were landing at the airport in Seattle. And what was interesting about it was that they would, because of the cloud cover, they would kind of disappear and reappear in the clouds. It was like kind of freaky, like a little weird and kind of unnerving to watch. So that was kind of interesting. So we just kept noticing planes where we would like look up and then just like, oh, there's a plane coming in, and like it'd appear and disappear. Like, oh, that's unnerving, weird. But then what would happen is the games would go to commercial. They bring out this big red time, or this big timer that says like 3 minutes or 2 minutes and 30 seconds, however long the commercial break is. And they are actually in charge of when the game starts and stops. You would think it would be the officials, but it's some guy in a red vest with the Big Ten logo on it, because Washington really needs you to know that they're in the Big Ten now. Okay? The Huskies were in the Big Ten now. All right? We were in the national championship last year and lost. But we are in the Big Ten now. Do you understand? That is the vibe that I get from them. It's just very, like, kind of arrogant. Like, we have ascended. We are doing better now. And we'll see how that goes. They beat Northwestern yesterday, but good luck. Anyway, they bring out, during these timeouts, they bring out the mascots a couple of different times. They bring the mascots out for a push-up contest, which the Cougars won. Duh, obviously. Dogs, little babies, they're weak. They don't know anything. Cougars win that. They have a thing that's like a race from Pullman to Seattle, and it's like a QR code thing where you like text your support or whatever it is, and then whoever gets more votes has gets the win, whatever. It's probably going to be Seattle, Seattle. It's going to be Washington because we're in Seattle, and I don't know that most people from Pullman know how to use a phone. So that one felt like it was kind of like, we're gonna maybe play up the we'll play up the push-up contest a little bit so that the Cougars can win it, because the Huskies will likely win the phone thing because there's probably more Husky fans that'll use their phone, blah, blah, blah. So there's a tie-breaking event. The most exciting tie-breaking event you could possibly have, and we'll find that out after the King of Hearts texts us. Becoming 2 miles tall in the middle of a trial is really one of the rudest things you can do. Texting in the middle of a story is one of the rudest things you can do, King of Hearts. You friggin' turd. I would have put her on trial. What? I would have to put her on trial herself. I would have to put her on trial herself, but the knave had stolen a tray of tarts. That, as you know, is the absolute number one rudest things you can do anywhere. The rudest thing you can do is write in the way that Alice Carroll wrote. Pretending like it's good. Sucks. It's like me writing when I was like 16 and I just crammed words in there. Oh man, look at all these song titles I really like, and it's like, ugh. Anyway. How you doing over there?
My eyes are so tired.
I'm just tired. We got a tired Beeb with us today. Tired Beeb. This entrance is taking a bit of time. Okay. Tie-breaking event where we last left our heroes, Harry Husky and Butch T. Cougar. They have to have a dance-off. The most exciting tie-breaking event in history. But wait, there's a special guest. And that's right, is Grimace, the McDonald's mascot. He is going to have a dance-off with Butch T. Cougar and Harry Husky in this game for some reason. There was a McDonald's food truck outside that was offering free fries that I wish I had seen on the way back, because then I would have eaten some fries on the way back, which would have been pretty cool. So they have this dance-off, and it's not great. It's not a great dance-off. It's just the moves are not good. They're like a little clunky. Even like if you were to go like, well, they're in a mascot costume, they still look bad. And you'll never guess who won, because Grimace won. So technically it was a straight tie between Grimace, the McDonald's mascot, Harry Husky, the mascot of the Washington Huskies, and Butch T. Cougar of the Washington State Cougars. Everybody won one event, so everybody went home happy. And that happened. It was very weird. It's very weird that Grimace was there. And it's just so, it's going to sound, this next sentence might sound kind of annoying. I understand that. But it's just like some corporate garbage. Like, oh, it's our corporate sponsor, McDonald's. Go buy some fries. Like that whole thing. It's just like, oh, this sucks. But he came out, and Grimace had the worst set of dance moves, and they still gave it to Grimace. So that happened. As the game goes along, we get a halftime performance from both of the marching bands, which is kind of exciting. The Cougars do one that's like mostly like 80s music, which isn't my favorite era of music. I was going to say genre, but isn't my favorite era of music. But they have this weird thing where they're doing Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins, thank you, where they bring out these big like air canister things. I don't know what you would call them, but they just have these big things on their backs, and it's like a fire extinguisher, but it's not a fire extinguisher, but it gives out like smoke of it. out of the tube or whatever. And it's like kind of a cool idea, but also doesn't make any sense at all because every time the little air thing goes off, you can't hear anything other than that. So they're like doing the like rendition of like highway to the, and then the thing goes off and you just go, and that's all you hear. There's no music. There's nothing else that you can hear except for these things just going like just expelling air. And it's like, oh, this is weird. And then the Washington Huskies came out. Their marching band did 3 ABBA songs, which is exciting. And I can't remember. It was Dancing Queen, it was Gimme, 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 and there was one other one, and it was the leadoff song, and I can't remember what it was. They say over the speaker, but it's like a little tricky to hear. But I just can't remember what the first song was. Like I don't know. I don't think it was Mamma Mia. Oh well. They did 3 ABBA songs. It was kind of cool. They did my favorite position, or not position. They did my favorite positioning of play. What, like position? What's that? What the hell do you call that? When you set up like a thing, you position everybody into like a specific formation. Formation? Maybe that's what it is. But they did, like, when they were doing Man After, Gimme, 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 I believe in parentheses it's called a Man After Midnight. They did, like, a grandfather clock that was, like, swinging, like the pendulum was swinging on the bottom, and at the top was the minute hand and hour hand walking around, and it looked very cool. It was very cool. So that was good. It was good. My mom said that the baton twirler for the Huskies was better than the baton twirler for the Cougars. So congratulations to them for winning that prestigious award. It's in the mail. When we went to Whiny Dogs in Yakima, there was literally next door was like a trophy, was a literal trophy store. It was like, oh, go back there, send it to the university, see what happens. Okay, so what are we looking for here on this railing? Real quick, just gonna take a peek. It still has something that needs to be gotten. All the way down. Nope. Please stop. Oh, excuse. Gimme, gimme, gimme a man after midnight. I'm like trying to crane my head. Hello? Okay, so what? Is that done? Oh, is it done? It actually is done. Is this? This one's not done. Ah, shoot. Oh, that was not helpful. There it is. Really? Oh. More. So then the halftime performance happens. It ends up being a very close game throughout the game, which was awesome. That's what you want in a rivalry game, because the Cougars and Huskies are rivals. You want a quality contest between the two teams. That's what you're looking for. It gets weird about the halfway point, maybe a little later than the halfway point in the fourth quarter, where it looks as if the Cougars have couged it. And if you don't know what that means, it's a term that we use here in the PNW, and it means it's snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, where you go out of your way. You go out of your way to make mind-blowingly stupid plays that give the other chance the opportunity to win. And the Cougars do this a lot. They did it against San Jose State, where they throw maybe, and this is going to sound like hyperbole. It's going to sound like hyperbole, but it may be the dumbest interception I have ever seen thrown. It is overtime in college. The Cougars, all they have to do is kick a field goal to win the game. There is zero reason in this San Jose State game to throw the ball for any reason whatsoever. Run the ball, give your kicker an opportunity to make up or to continue his hot streak from the 50-yard field goal he made to tie the game to send it into overtime in the first place, and then just take the result. If they miss, you go to a second overtime. If you make it, you win the game. It is a heinously underthrown ball that is intercepted by San Jose State and forces a second overtime. It is the dumbest interception I think I have ever seen. I've seen dumb interceptions. I've seen questionable interceptions, terrible throws, whatever. Given the context and situation of this Cougars game against San Jose State, I think it would be the dumbest interception I have ever seen thrown. Having said that, the Cougars did that against Washington as well, or so we thought. And the reason that I wanted to talk about the game itself was because I thought the stadium experience was very interesting. Because there's a point in the game where it's probably like 5 minutes or so where you want the Cougars to just run the ball. All you need to do, just run it out, and you can pick up a victory over your bitter, hated rival who doesn't care about you and would rather be in the Big Ten. And all you have to do is just run the ball and call it good. You take whatever you can get, run as much time off the clock, put them behind the 8 ball, and go from there. Your defense has played pretty well throughout the day. Mateer, the quarterback, throws it, and it's intercepted. It appears. Now, what makes this interesting is the replay that they show isn't a great angle. And Ashley leans over to me, and she doesn't watch a ton of football, which is why this is an interesting thing to have heard. Is she goes, why are we reviewing something that was so obviously the result? This review takes a very long time. They're under the hood. They're looking at it from every possible angle. In the stadium, they showed it to us once. Once from that angle where she looked at me and goes, why are we here? What are we doing? And they just didn't show it again. So when they come back from the replay and they say it's an incomplete pass, it is mind-boggling. I have no idea, and I actually kept looking on YouTube for like the like illegal upload of it to see. I need to watch the last like half of the fourth quarter or so. Basically from that interception to the end of the game, I'd like to watch the broadcast version of, because I don't know how they overturned it. They only showed us the one angle. They only showed us the one replay, but then it gets even weirder toward the end of the game. And because of like some penalties and clock management gets really wacky and wild. It was a very odd and bizarre stadium experience. And I can't, oh, there it is. It's on this side. I knew it was going to stand out. There we go. That wasn't even what I was looking for, but it gave me the angle that I needed for this. So it was really weird when they came back and were like, the ruling on the field is overturned, it's an incomplete pass, whatever, Cougar football. So then then the Cougars do whatever they do, but it's that weird thing where it's like you have the game not won, but you have a great opportunity to really wind this clock down. Incomplete pass stops the clock, blah, 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 blah. Football, football, football. It's so frustrating to watch. And the Cougars routinely do this. The Mike Leach era has like poisoned common sense. Just take field goals if you can. Just run the clock out when you can. You don't need to do the things that you were doing sometimes. You could just follow common football sense, okay? Please. So the game winds down. The Huskies have the ball. The Cougars are playing kind of an annoying defense where it's like they're playing like a prevent defense. And one of my favorite sayings in football is the only thing a prevent defense prevents you from is winning the game, because it allows teams to get into rhythm. It kind of makes sense depending on the score. Like if it was a 2-score game, sure. But in this situation, you're only up by 5. A touchdown's going to give them the lead. You should be a little more aggressive. Yada, yada, yada. Again, football talk, blah, 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 blah. They get down to the goal line, the Huskies do, and it comes down to a 4th and goal, which is like, that is exciting as all get out to be in the stadium for that. But the time on the clock is a little bit weird. It's like right around the 2-minute mark. The Huskies only have one timeout, I believe, at this point, or they take their second timeout right before the 4th and goal, which the Cougars stuff beautifully. It's awesome. It feels like, man, the Cougars have a real, actual, genuine, I'm stuck in the wall. I am stuck. I am legitimately stuck. Okay, never mind. Oh, sorry. I banged my head on this branch over here. It's like, oh man, the Cougars genuinely have a chance to win this football game, which is wild. Absolutely wild. The defense held really well. They stood up to the Husky offense. They were able to slow them down just enough. They bent, but they did not break. Incredible. They string the run out really beautifully and stop it. But the problem with that is that the Cougars then they get the ball at like the 1 yard line. It is like it's a really bad position to be in because a safety would give the Huskies the ball back, and it starts to get real weird from there because it was a 5-point game. A safety would make it a 3-point game, yada, yada, yada. There's some timeouts used. The Huskies, I think, used their last timeout. The Cougars can bleed about 1 minute and 20 seconds off the clock, but it still would give the Huskies an opportunity to get the ball back with some time and then have, Heartbreak City take over and send a bunch of Cougars fans home real sad. But because of the penalties, the clock management situation got like all wonky and out of sorts. I was like doing the math and I'm like, they can only stop it once, so they would run it on 2nd down, that's 40 seconds off. They would run it on 2nd or 3rd down, and then that's another 40 seconds off, but it would still be like 15 to 20, something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was just a weird section of time where some penalties allowed plays to be redone that bled off just enough extra time to where the game ended up being over. And it was really weird because my math was incorrect and I didn't realize that it was off or was getting further incorrect by the penalties and stuff like that. So like fans are leaving the stadium and it's like, well, wait, why are you leaving? The game is not over. It's not over at all. Like there's still an opportunity, right? And I'm like doing math and like trying to figure it out. And I was like, no, they've won. They've won the game. And Ashley looks at me and she goes, no, they haven't. The clock hasn't hit 0. You're not allowed to say that they've won until the clock hits 0. There's still time. Stop it. You're going to jinx it. The team we're here to see is going to lose, which fair point. If there's still time on the clock, there's still an opportunity for the Cougars to Cougar. And boy, they tried by throwing that stupid interception that ended up getting overturned somehow. And it was wild. Really wild. I forgot to mention, though, that $14 pizza, incredible. Incredible. Well worth $14. It was delicious. The slice, it was like, I was fine with the size of the slice. I shared a little bit with the Beeb. She had a couple bites of it. If it was easier to get out of my seat, I would have gotten a second one. But because of the people around us, no one really got up. And when I came back, actually, this was all the way back at the beginning of the game. When I went to go get into my seat, I needed the guy on the end to just step out of his seat and move and kind of go back a little bit. He doesn't. Instead, he like angles me off and like walls it so that he doesn't lose his seat apparently. So I have to like step over. Thank God I'm 6'4". To step over a seat in front of me, kind of, onto like a metal that could be slick, but I don't really know. But I'm at a weird angle and like kind of make like a weird move, and he like kind of like tries to catch me. And I'm like, you wouldn't have had to catch me if you would have just gotten out of the flipping way. So I didn't really want to talk to them again. Otherwise, I definitely would have gotten a second slice of pizza. It was delicious. We took a picture of the box just so we could remember, just so we could have that memory of what that pizza was. It was so good. It was so good.
So we can maybe find it later.
Yeah, we gotta find. Yeah, but we were going to Just Burgers, which is the next part of the story.
Right, but I mean, you said you thought we could remember it.
Oh, so we can get it on a different day. Is that what you? Okay, yeah. Well, we can look at it, and just kind of reminisce. We can just stare at it like you would look at a newborn baby and go, "Remember that pizza? That pizza was real good." We'll have to get it another day because it was real good, really really good pizza. Anyway, game ends. They let fans on the field because it's like a rivalry game, and people are like fairly respectful of it. Like it seems like it's not like a total rush of the field. It's like a reasonable. The security people are kind of like, hey, we want you to go down this way. We don't want you to go down that way. They're like the fans for the most part are pretty relaxed, and they're like they're like speed walking out instead of just a dead sprint to the middle of the field. It felt very, it was a respectful field rush. It seemed from inside the stadium. What happened? What?
I went to scratch my.
Oh my gosh, my stupid pile of video games.
I knew I was gonna.
I
forget
should have.
about it.
Yeah. Oh, nevertheless, when someone grows to a prodigious size in the middle of a trial, it's extremely important that you exert your authority. Even when your Imperial Guard are, in essence, a set of gossamer thin playing cards. Gossamer thin? What? I was hoping that we could perhaps apply the handcuffs whilst she were distracted by a quality sleight of hand trick. Okay. So yeah, there were like fans on the field. We sat through this trophy presentation, but I'm getting a little bit antsy because there is, and granted, there's a long time here, but there is only an hour from when the event ends that I have to get my bag back. They like send you a text. They're like, okay, we're here. We're open an hour after the game. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what happens to it afterwards. I don't really need to lose any of this crap. I shouldn't have brought it in the first place. Fully acknowledge that. It was a good idea right up until it wasn't, which was very early on in this plan. So it's like, I kind of want to watch this. Like, I kind of would like to just get that and make sure it's in my possession, because I really don't know what's going to happen. That sounds dramatic, but it's one of those things where you're just like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with, even if the repercussion, like the negative aspect of it isn't that bad, I don't want to deal with it. I have no interest in that. So we make our way out of the stadium, going down those ramps. A lot easier and a lot more fun than going up the ramps. A lot of people yelling, "Go Cougs!" It's all concrete, so it echoes really, really bad. And it's kind of annoying because, again, we're trying to talk. I only have about 2 good yells in me, so I really got to make sure that I'm cheering as hard as I can for Grimace during the dance competition, and maybe 1 key interception. Otherwise, I'm just not going to have a voice for the rest of the day. And I didn't have a voice for a couple of days. I think I came home and I was Monday. I had to do some recording, and even that was like a little like, oh, we're still not done with this. So that was interesting. So I'm having trouble like talking over people. I'm trying to like figure out where we're going to go, what we're going to do, how we're going to do this. Trying to just get out of the stadium, and then you have a bunch of people going like, "Oh, Cougs!" It's like, just please stop talking. We get it. The Cougars won. The game is now over. Everyone can move on with their lives, because that's how sports work for me. It's like when the game is over, like I'll be like, man, that was a good game, or that was a bad game. Sometimes I'll think about like really cool plays, and then I just kind of try to move on with my life because it doesn't actually affect me, because I'm just a fan. I make no money. My life is no different today than it would be tomorrow if the Packers lose, which I don't think they did because they were playing against the Titans. I haven't checked the score in a little bit, but hopefully everything was okay. I miss Jordan Love. Anyway, so we're working our way out. And I got to go grab this thing. Thankfully, grab my bag. Thankfully, they kind of have it down. Like it's easy to get in and out of that situation with the locker. You show them the text message. They find the thing. I'm like a little worried that like there's a typo on it, but I mean, stuff happens. I know, in my head, I'm like, I can describe what the bag is. I know what's in the bag. I'm not trying to steal anything. Like, I know that doesn't look good, but I'm coming up with backup plans for a situation that I probably don't need to be as worried about. Like, just trust the system, but you never know. Like, stuff can go wrong, and I think it's fine, not dramatic necessarily, to go like, okay, I know what's in the bag. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I need to be in the bag. I don't think they're going to do anything, but again, you never know. And so I kind of, I'm anxious to just get that done. I just want that back. I feel dumb because I did it in the first place. And so that, like, we get out of the stadium and I'm just kind of like, I'm working my way through. Like, I don't have 2 people who are following me who are trying to like keep up with me. I'm just wiggling my way through everything, just slicing and dicing my way through like a defense. Again, like a running back, 6'4" running back. Just a crisp 200 pounds, can bench about, I don't know, 1,200 pounds, no big deal. Leg press about 4,000. Come on. Baby town frolics. Anyway, go grab my bag. It started to rain at some point during the game because of the way the Seahawks Stadium is. We were under the roof. Did not realize it was raining, which was a wild thing for us to realize when they showed like a crowd shot and we go, is it raining out there? It was lightly drizzling for some of the second half, which might explain the near interceptions, like the wet ball. I hadn't really thought about it. I was just so flabbergasted that they would even throw that stupid pass. Anyway, again, my life not affected by the result of a game. I'm just trying to explain that. Anyway, go grab that. It's an efficient system. It's raining a little bit. Pop some hoodies on, trying to get out of the weather. Not that it's all that bad. It's like very light. It's not a problem. But we don't want to deal. What we don't want to deal with is the incredibly backed up foot bridge between the stadium and the light rail entrance, which is where a lot of people are working their way towards. The whole thing, it is backed up across the entire bridge, down the stairs, and and then some, which is a pretty considerable distance in this situation. So I'm like, okay, we'll just go up a couple of blocks and we'll figure it out. It's easy. We'll just go up a couple blocks and that'll alleviate a lot of the traffic because a lot of people I'm sure are just going, well, we came in this way, so we will just go out exactly this way. Kind of glad that we took this route because I think we might have witnessed the desolation of a relationship, which was pretty great. Because there was a guy, and you know what? I'll be honest. I'll tell this story as honestly as possible. I thought they were father and daughter. The age difference was a little bit weird, and it not necessarily was weird, but just the look of both parties involved looked odd. He looked older than he probably was, and she probably looked a touch younger than she actually was. And when you take those two things together, you kind of just go like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I want to be in this situation, Wow, that was the most generous ding that it could have given me. That is wild. Okay, weird. So he has had far too much to drink. In fact, when I was in the Amazon thing that I'm at this point still very convinced that I stole something from because I have not seen a charge for it on my card. They only allow you to have basically what you can carry. You can carry you have 2 hands, you can carry 2 beers. Part of why I did not continue talking to the guy at the end of it was because there was a dude rapping on the window going, Cheryl, I need you to carry some beers. They only let me have 2. And I'm already irritated. Did I startle you? Sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
No, you're good.
Anyway, so this dude has been probably through that several times. He's very drunk. She is not having it. She is miserable. And at one point, I believe she says, what is that? Oh, it must be a grass glitching through. She says, why can't you just have a nice time with me? Or something along those lines. Is that what she said?
I think that's what she said.
It's just like, why can't you just have a nice time with me? And it's just like, man, that sounds like the final straw. It probably wasn't, but I felt like I watched a relationship crumble that day. And I wish that I had followed that thread a little bit longer. I didn't need to get on the train all that soon. I could follow them for a little bit. You just see what happens. I'm not trying to be a creep, but if I'm in the area and they aren't particularly quiet, who's to know what I may or may not have learned? Anyway, so we go down over by the light rail station because at this point we are going to go to Just Burgers. Just Burgers, Pink Gorilla Games, Uji Maya, those are all places that we tried to go to when we're over there because we like all of those locations. We went to Just Burgers kind of on a whim one day, and we go back every single time now because it's delicious. And we've told my mom, like, oh man, we gotta go Just Burgers after the game. It'll be great. did not anticipate or failed to anticipate how many people would be trying to get on the light rail, because we let 3 trains go by, just kind of going like, nah, we'll get the next one, looking at it and going, nah, next one. Finally get on one that's like, we're reasonably close to the front, so at least we can wiggle our way into some seats, but it gets real crowded really fast. Now with the light rail, it's very quick, which is nice. And they are running them every 5 minutes or so. So we probably only waited, realistically, we probably waited for a train down there for 15 minutes tops. They were running them very, very quickly, very efficiently, because there's, however many thousands of people down there at the Apple Cup. They got to get people out, because they got a Mariners game starting in 2 hours or whatever it is. Which is just going to bring more people down. Is that a shadow or is that actual dirt? Oh, there might be some dirt on that. Does that count? Do you count? Probably not. So we finally get on a train. We find a little... Oh, it was. Perfect. We find a spot where we can sit and we can just kind of... just veg out. It's a little cramped. It's a little sweaty in there. And that's just kind of what we're dealing with here. But again, it's super crowded. It's really tight and packed like it was kind of on the way in. It's not quite as bad, but it's close. And it's not fun. Not super fun to deal with. But again, with the light rail, it's quick, and you're hoping at every stop I go, this is the stop where people are going to get off this freaking train and we're going to get some room. And that didn't happen for 4 stops in a row. I was like, what is happening? Even when we got off, which was one of the more panicked, like, get train disembarkings I've had, or light rail disembarkings I had. It's me just panically going, like, trying to get to the doors before they close, going like, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, sorry, pardon me, sorry. Just repeatedly saying that, knowing that I'm not the only one getting off. I have 2 people behind me that I also need off of this train, or off of this light rail. And it was just like, it was not fun. It's just not fun at all, dealing with like that amount of people. And even at that stop, we were 3 of... There was probably more people. There were a bunch more people that got off the train. But in the car that we were on, there were probably 10 people that got off, and we were 3 of those. So that car just did not get... There was a mass exodus further up, or everyone was on until the end, or everyone got on the wrong train and didn't realize it for another little bit. It was wild. I couldn't believe how many people were still on the train or on the light rail when we disembarked, which was a lot. So we went up. We got just burgers, delicious, big fan. We go there all the time, or every time we're over there, and we're never disappointed. Have a great experience up there. Every time burgers are great. My mom really likes them, which is a big win, because it would be really bad if she's like, oh, these burgers weren't worth it. And it's like, well, sorry, we A, hyped it up, and B, you had to sit on this incredibly crowded train so that we could go, oh, these burgers are great. So it was a win all around in that regard. Getting home is now our next, or getting back to the hotel is now the next thing that we have to do. And it's going to be it gets a little weird, because while the light rail runs every like 10 or 15 minutes during this portion of the day, and I'm sure that they make sure that they run extra stuff on a Saturday during like the sports season, blah, blah, blah. The problem is going to be the bus that we need to catch, which has to deal with all of the traffic coming into and leaving Seattle. So now it's kind of a thing of like, okay, I got to look up and see where we want to get on the bus and figure out what time we need to be there, and then just kind of go. We're up in the University District, which has a Pink Gorilla Games. I haven't been to Pink Gorilla at this point, and I elected not to go to Pink Gorilla at any point just because it didn't work out for timing, and I'm glad that I did, because I was like, well, according to this, we have a 20 to 30 minute layover wherever we end up sitting. King of Hearts says, however, no sooner had my soldier cards hitched a ride onto Alice than their entire countenance changed. Countenance? To a man, they clambered onto her shoulders. To To a man, they clambered onto her shoulders, blew the most outrageous raspberries down upon me, and directed her off into the distance. Oh no. What, thought I, led to this instantaneous and treacherous about turn? I would guess you're probably a pretty terrible person. Anyway, so it's like, well, we have an opportunity where we would be, it'd be like, oh, then it dawned on me. Hold on, we got more from the King of Hearts. I sucked. Is this the, oh, the court floor is all the same. I had forgotten to remove the jokers. But did you keep the Harlequins? Oh. Comic book joke. Oh, there we go. Okay, court floor. Oh, this one has a little bit as well. So, I'm looking at the schedule. It's like, it'll arrive at 6 whatever time. And there's basically like, I can take, let's say 20 minutes. We can take 20 minutes somewhere and walk around and look at whatever, and that's fine. We have a little bit of time to work with. But for me, I'm kind of like, I just want to get out of here. So we're going to just take the next light rail that we can. We're going to get on it, and we're going to get off in the area of the stop, which is going to end up being the International District. And we're just going to hang out down there, and we'll go somewhere if time allows. And I'm very, very glad that I made this call, because what was like a 20-minute wait turned into like a 6-minute wait, and was like, oh, we can just walk up, we'll get on the bus, and we will be out of here as quickly as we possibly can in this specific situation, like after a sporting event, all that, blah, blah, blah. When we got to the stadium, there was a guy in a Cougars shirt, Cougars jersey. And as the bus like came around, I don't know if he heard me or if he just noticed it himself or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, the bus is here. He just kind of went like oof, finally. And I kind of was like, I turned to him and I go, oh, it sounds like you've been here for a while. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, how long had he been there? I should have asked how long he'd been there. Because it sounded like finally the bus is here, of like that sounded of a guy who had basically left the stadium and was like, I'm just going to sit here until I see the bus I need. At which point, that was like an hour, probably an hour and a half, where we were able to go up, eat, and come back from a burger place. And he was just sitting at the bus stop, just waiting for a bus that was an hour delayed at that point. So it all worked out. And then we got on the bus and we went home, or went back to the hotel. I don't know why I keep calling it home. The Beeb and I had a nice little night swim in a pool that was a little cold. And then we woke up the next day and we packed up and headed back. We went and got some Top Pot donuts. Unfortunately, I had eaten before I got the Top Pot donuts, so I didn't really eat much of the Top Pot donuts, but that's on me. Sorry about that. To the Top Pot people and to the Beeb's wallet, because that was not cool of me, but it happens. Yeah, brought back some cool stuff from Ujimaya. That'll be up tomorrow, or Saturday, excuse me. Tomorrow we'll be taking a look at Shadows of Doubt. You know what? We'll probably have both of us in it, because we are both very excited for that game. We're going to try and solve a mystery. We're almost done. That actually kind of timed out pretty well. Hopefully you enjoyed that story. It's a little long-winded, but that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you just want someone to take you on a journey for a little bit. The journey of Seattle. I feel like it's a good opportunity. Stop getting stuck, me. It's a good opportunity for me to wonder if I missed anything. The ride home was pretty uneventful. Oh, I did miss something. Would you like to take a guess? And I'll give you a second. Would you like to take a guess at the top speed that we hit on our way back, or on the trip in general? I'll give you a hint. It was on the way back, because I had forgotten about it. Give you a minute. I remember that I said that we hit 80 twice while she was talking about NASCAR on the way down, with a solid oops in there. So just think about it for a moment. I'll give you the answer when I ding this Okay, well, there you go. Time is up. 100 miles an hour is the answer because, quote, that Suburban was annoying me. It was a very irritating Suburban on the way back between Yakima and the Tri-Cities that I'm not exactly sure what was... Oh, what was irritating her was the fact that she passed it, and then it passed her, and then she passed it back, and then it was behind her, so she just hit the gas. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm used to my mom's driving. I don't care. Doesn't get to me. But I sure did notice that there was a lot of accelerating as we were working our way down the freeway. And so I kind of just glanced at the speedometer as it approached the triple digits. Triple digits probably for Tri-Cities, if we're being honest. We hit a crispy hundo, 100 miles an hour on the way back. So there's your answer for you. Nothing else really happened eventful on the way back. I was keeping track of some football scores. Thankfully, most of that way back has pretty good cell service, which is nice. But it was a great trip. We had a good time. The thick rat, and the pizza, pretty great. Some highlights. Maybe the highlights you wouldn't want to put next to each other. Think about rats while you're eating pizza. But if Master Splinter taught us anything, it's that rats love pizza. Big pizza fans. Rats and turtles. Huge fans of pizza. But other than that, I mean, it's the game was great. The seats were really nice. Glad that we got to see the Apple Cup. Didn't really notice anything too weird. I did see a Washington cheerleader absolutely eat it when they couldn't quite get the triangle base, whatever it is. When they like lift him up. They have like the grips on the legs and they lift him up and then push him up. The cheerleader. It got off to a bad start and she folded in half as she hit the ground, which was pretty funny. It's really funny. It's funnier in my head than it probably was in real life, but it was just, I don't know the last time I saw in real life someone like fold just that in half. But she bounced back up. Oh, there was another good part of the football game where the Huskies, the Washington Huskies, have an actual Husky that they run out on the field with. It runs out on the field and celebrates the touchdowns and blah, blah, blah. Which is, it's good fun. I don't care that there's an animal on the field. But when they were bringing the Huskies back out on the field for the second half, trying to show more of this map. We've been looking at a lot of walls and foliage. When they were bringing the Huskies back out on the field for the second half, they bring the dog comes out with them. Which 140, 150 yards, let's say, if you include the end zone and some of the extra running, blah, blah, blah. Just a casual jaunt for a dog like that. Just a casual, easy peasy jaunt. For the handler that was running alongside, absolute every ounce of effort was given to keep up with this dog that was going in maybe 25%. She was hoofing it. Just every step was like she was running out of energy. She had to keep up with this dog just to make sure that the dog didn't get away. And the dog's just a slight little jog. And it was very funny to see. Also, the kickers kind of get in the way of the marching bands sometimes because they go out first with about... The Huskies kicker came out with probably like 6 or 7 minutes before the second half to get like some warm-up kicks in there. And then the Cougars kicker kind of came out, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 minutes. But the marching band for the Huskies wasn't quite done, and the Huskies kicker had to try and get out of the way or needed to know. I wonder how much of the routine that Huskies kicker needs to know so that he's not in the way of the marching band. I found that very funny to watch, where they're like, they kick off a tee and then they'll do some other drills, but like You don't need the trombonist or whoever's on the edge tripping on your stupid kicker tee because you needed to get that 35-yard chip shot figured out. And that was kind of about it. I think I got everything, which is pretty good. And we're gonna finish up this DLC, which is awesome. Someone had just commented the other day about when are we gonna do another Powerwash? And I was like, oh, that'd be a way better game to play for potential story rather than like 7 Days to Die or something that's a little more intense. Something that's just kind of a point and spray. 95% done here. And the good news is I actually had something to talk about. Usually it's just me updating you on what the percentage left is. Oh. If you want, you can let me know in the comment section below what's the best football game you've ever been to. I'll give you my answer just for fun. We went to go see a Cougars game down in Pullman against Boise State, where the Washington State Cougars were getting absolutely crushed. They were down to the point where partway through the third quarter, my mom and I looked at each other and we go, do we leave now? Because this sucks. This is not a good game. And so we both did the like you would do to your alarm. We just kind of went we'll give it 5 more minutes. And I'm glad that we did because the Cougars ended up tying the game. It went into at least it went into overtime, maybe double overtime, but they won on a walk-off touchdown. It was incredible. Fantastic game. And easily the best game I've seen in person. Just the stakes of being down by multiple scores and getting back into it. Looking like just an abysmal, awful team for a lot of it was kind of what I'd like. I enjoy a close back and forth game, sure, but I don't know. I'm kind of a sucker for a multi-score comeback or an upset of a surprising upset of a favorite. You know, in college they have the rankings, so you would be like, oh man, an upset of a top-ranked team would be kind of a. Oh, that arch card's already done. That'd be kind of my bread and butter. Almost saw one yesterday with the Missouri and Vanderbilt. Which, that's the worst way to lose a game. Spoiler alert. A missed field goal after the coach ices you, the opposing coach ices you. I always want the kickers to make those kicks because I hate that strategy. I think it sucks. And every time they miss a field goal, it lends more oh, this is a viable thing to do, and it's I can't argue against it. I just think it's stupid. You know what I mean? If they miss the field goal, then clearly it worked or something got weird, but anyway. Okay, so is this area all good? Looks good. You know what? You don't even have to let me know about what the best football. You can just throw in a sporting event. Best sports game you've seen live in person. We all get to watch good games on TV every once in a while. But getting lucky enough to see an awesome game in person, whew, hot dang. Hot dang. The baseball game actually that I went to this year was pretty good. That was a weird game too. They walked in a run. It was very odd. And the Cougars had one of the most ridiculous games. That San Jose State game is absurd. And that will about. Nope. Okay, just kidding. All right, what do we have? What did I miss specifically? Chess rook statues. I see what? Oh, that's pretty bad. That's a bad miss on my part. Okay, got that one. Chest rook statue. It's probably gonna be me again. Nice. There you are. You're probably on. Yep, there it is. Okay. Whoa, my goodness. Just ignored this side of everything, apparently. What? Okay. There's a lot more to clean. The dings in this game super weird. Okay. Couple of things in my area. Still 99%. This is the fun part. We have a garden floor edging somewhere. That one's good.
Any other lamps other than these two?
Oh, it's this one. What's up? 2 lamps.
Are these the only 2 lamps?
Oh. Yep. Okay. I did. Yeah. Okay. So I see the garden floor edging, but I gotta find out where it needs cleaned. I'm gonna guess it's probably on this outside portion over here, because that's where I was working. Yep. Okay. So we have an entrance wall. Ouch. And a garden wall raised beds and thrown dominoes. Okay, got that one. Garden wall. Garden wall. Raised beds. I don't know what that is.
I'm not sure either. I'm looking, but I'm not.
I guess you know what we could do is we can highlight them. And it'll blink. It'll flash. The thrown dominoes. There's one more. Something on the bottom? Thrown domino, thrown domino. Thrown domino. Okay, garden wall raised beds. Did you find it or?
No, are you highlighting it or not yet?
Well, I don't know. Is it just me or might be able to highlight it as well? There's 13 of 14. That's weird. Oh, there it is. But where? There we go. Okay.
I don't even know how to.
So you bring up push start and then look for what it is. And then when you have it highlighted, it'll just kind of blink on the map or like in. Okay, they're these little corners.
Oh,
Oh, that explains why I absolutely would have missed those. There's a little bit of dirt and grime on the inside. It's like raised and it like raises up and drops down. So if you jump up there, yeah. And that does it. That'll do it. Did you get you got it? That one unlocked clean that time. The other one we did in half and half, so I wonder if it didn't like that we did it that way. But there you go. That is the Alice Adventures, Alice's whatever DLC for Powerwash Simulator and our lovely trip over to Seattle. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks so much for listening, watching. I appreciate it. You can subscribe where the gameplay is. We will be back tomorrow. We're going to be checking out Shadows of Doubt, which is a game that we're both very, very excited about. So it'll be like me playing and her kind of commentating or getting startled, which will startle me. So it'll be a good time. So check that out tomorrow. Saturday will be another episode of Taste Test. It'll be the Ujimaya gatherings that we found over there. And then we'll be back next week with something else. Hopefully you enjoyed. There's new Shrek DLC coming out to this on October 10th, so you might see the game back a little bit sooner. We might rotate that in with some 7 Days to Die. So thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Again, subscribe right here. Ring the bell down below. You'll be notified when I post new videos. I think I figured out the playlist problem, so it should be Powerwash right here. And then maybe the 7 Days playlist up there. But thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.